why are the government so willing to pick up the tab on vaccine injury, and however inadequate the scheme is, given the fatality and significant life-limiting impacts from the victims. But the concerns about this have been amplified significantly following the publication in The Spectator Australia of an account by genomic scientist Kevin McKern made about his accidental discovery, and I quote, "While running an experiment in his Boston lab, McKern used some vials of mRNA, Pfizer and Moderna COVID vaccines as controls. He was shocked to find that they were allegedly contaminated with tiny fragments of plasmid DNA. This concern has been considered further by Professor Angus Dalgleish, who notes that the contaminant, simian virus 40, is a sequence that is used to drive DNA into the nucleus, especially in gene therapies, and that this is something that regulatory agencies around the world have specifically said is not possible with the mRNA vaccines. These SV40 promoters are also well recognised as being oncogenic or cancer-inducing genetic material. And other scientists have confirmed these findings, as Prof. Dalgleish further notes. To put it bluntly, this means that they are not vaccines at all, but genetically modified organisms that should have been subject to totally different regulatory conditions and certainly not be classed as vaccines. And worryingly, Professor Dalgleish also notes that oncologists have contacted him from across the world and that the consensus is that this is thought to be a precipitating relapse in melanoma, lymphoma, leukemias and in kidney cancers. And he concludes with the following warning: to advise boosted vaccines, as is currently the case, if that's the current position, is no more and no less than medical incompetence. To continue to do so with his cited evidence is medical negligence, which can carry a custodial sentence.
Will the honourable gentleman give way?
I will indeed.
I thank the honourable gentleman for his contribution and his quotes of Professor Angus Dalgleish, and I remind the House that Angus Dalgleish is the most cited oncologist in the UK. I had invited him here to witness this debate today, and since he had some input to it, he can't attend because he's actually speaking at a conference on this very issue we're discussing here in Berlin.
I thank the honourable gentleman for that point of information, but also the acknowledgement of a very important scientist in this debate and someone who it's been a great honour of mine to have worked in the same institutions as he provides great leadership in on this specific technology, and you know, his contribution to this problem is and his value to it is impeccable. Anyway, but he concludes that piece by saying no ifs, no buts any longer. All mRNA vaccines must be halted and banned now. So can the Minister answer the following question? Are Big Pharma being exempted from liability, and if so, why? The loss of trust in Big Pharma is substantial, and worryingly, because of this, the value of vaccination itself has been deeply damaged. Personally, I say this absolutely frankly, I will never accept another mRNA vaccine, and I am far from alone. So will the Minister agree to full disclosure of the data and an investigation of the facts? And will the Minister also commit to instructing ONS to release the record-level data? Or will it take someone like New Zealander Barry Young, a whistleblower who has been imprisoned for publishing their record-level data, to surface his concerns about the COVID vaccine programme in New Zealand? As we've seen with the Horizon scandal, government must never bury the facts when lives are being lost and futures destroyed. There is no greater betrayal. So in closing, the foundation of good clinical practice are under threat, and I put that into context with the December 2023 pathology research and practice paper on gene-based COVID-19 vaccines from Rodesa and Parry, and they gave this following warning. Pandemic management requires societal coordination, global orchestration, respect for human rights and defence of ethical principles. Yet some approaches to the COVID-19 pandemic, driven by socio-economic, corporate and political interests, have undermined key pillars of ethical medical science. None of these clinical experts are quacks or conspiracy theorists. And as the government has said so often during the pandemic, we must follow the science. Thank you, Mr. Vick.